Good morning. Welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the think show that proves without a doubt that the so called people that they call African American didn't find their way to America in the bottom of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One. And lately I've been getting a lot of um, emails, just from people who listen and people who have their observations of what I'm trying to relay, what I'm trying to say. And a lot of times, I don't know what they're thinking, but it's plain and clear. African Americans ain't Africans. And what a lot of times what you get, especially from the people who call themselves Native Americans, it's mainly them that do it. Nobody else really needs convincing. But you always get letters from them. You're African. You're not the Native Americans, and blah blah blah. And so this is done to try to make you think of what's being said is true. The narrative is true. I mean, in any narrative you go in, the narratives that control human societies, like we're controlled now, to make the indigenous people think that this ain't yours. You ain't got nothing to do with this. Your ass came over here in a ship, pissing and shitting on top of each other, got here and was sold. That's what happened to you. Now, this is what all these outsiders and foreigners are telling the people here. But the people here don't really say nothing. They just fall in that position that was created for them and they start becoming the characters. I hope you see that. We start being what other people say, never thinking about what they say, just being what they say. So oftentimes I get letters from these cats who are Native American, and they always try to like, try to convince me. And when you tell them simple stuff, see, they must think we're dumb. They must think we're dumb. So check out what this Native American wrote me. Been listening to your podcasts, which I think are dangerous to the minds of your listeners. You cannot name one specific proof of what you're talking about. Most African Americans agree with me that you are from Africa. Now, when you come across people talking like that, you just gotta drag their ass so they'll remember what's going on. Cause seriously, the shame of that we're treated like this, that shit is our fault. Because we fall for the dumbest shit ever. And then talk and walk around and get your nails done and your hair done like you doing something. You were under attack. It's been going on for years. You can keep playing like you don't see it. That'll be your epitaph. So the cat says, and this is what I'm saying. And a lot of times these cats get to talking and we just go along with it. Just go along with it because we haven't took the time to find out nothing. Come on. African Americans' main thing, they don't look for information, do they? No. Let's stop playing around with it. See, we like to play too much. on information, on information that would help their bloodlines into the future. What are African Americans' stance on that? It's damn near zero. They just want to eat. They just want to eat. That was what was created. That's why when he say most African Americans agree with me, he's right. He's right. I know most African Americans agree. He's the Native American. So to these people, this is what I say to them. Number one, why do you call yourself Native American? How come you just don't call yourself American? I mean, ask them that. You want to laugh till you piss on yourself? Ask them that. Why do you call yourself Native American instead of just regular old American? Watch the look on their face. Second thing to ask them, because he says you cannot name one specific proof of what you're talking about. I mean, i- I can talk about them all, how dumb they are, but like he said, most African Americans agree with him. They don't think, they don't use common sense, they don't search their ancestors, they don't ask things like why in the South Native Americans always account for less than 1% of the people, and the people that they call African American, Black, Negro, colored, they're always 60, 65, 70% of the population. How is that? How is that what you call African American, Black, Negro, and colored? Why do they have universities and schools built back before the Civil War? And the Native American has nothing. Ask questions like that. You can be the walking, talking dumbass. Ask those questions. Ask why there's no, ask where in the world where indigenous people are, they're the majority of people. Ask them that question. You are going to have to ask those questions because nobody else is. They just rolling you around. Listen, one of the things that he said that was got to pay attention to. Most African Americans agree with me, you know. And to him, I'll say this, and I'll say this too. Then I'm out of here. Imagine this is just the listeners on this podcast. Just imagine this. You've heard that song by the Beatles. Imagine what you call Black Christians, people who refer themselves as Black Christians, who fall into that ideology. Imagine, just imagine this. Imagine if Black Christians, Black Muslims, Greeks, Negroes who are under the Greek influence, Negroes who are under the Hebrew Israelite of influence, people who are under the Moor influence, people who are under the criminal influence. And what I mean by crime is your deeds that you do to each other. Eh, Simple. What are the cats with the G? What if all those cats, what are they called? Masons. What if all the Masons, all the basketball players, and I'm talking about the ones who play in the park too, all the football players, all the black general population start working for themselves? Stop putting your tongues down everybody else's throat and start working for America. You start working for yourselves. I mean, you like to brag how you built America, but you never say it's yours. So when people say stuff to you, when people, always try to get you off your rocker, you got to know something. You got to know something. You can't be repeating what everybody says. You can't keep repeating dumb stuff because those are put out there to keep you stuck. You notice every time you hear the Negro talk, he says the same thing over and over again, what he heard somebody else say. You can't go with that. Those are followers. You can't be that, right? Cool. So, just keep that in mind. When people try to tell you who you are, let them speak, because these people are barbarians. They come from places where they're kicked in the ass, slapped the shit out of. You see it. You see it in China, in a whole bunch of places. It'll be a shame if we run into those people and we don't know nothing. It'll be a shame if we get into confrontations with what's coming and we don't know nothing. We know Jesus. So, as I always say, if Jesus couldn't save his own ass, how is he going to save yours? We'll see you next time. Peace.